But for the coalition, I actually attended several meetings of the current coalition and was part of several deliberations. For the opportunities that lies for the coalition and their plan to remove the current administration that is not underperforming seriously, I think there are a lot of chances. But those chances should be predicated on certain factors and drawn within certain parameters. You need candidates that have momentum, that have public appeal, that are that have organic depth of support, that to be able to go into the ballot so that you have or go onto the ballot so that you have the opportunity to remove the current government. So the only way to defeat this current government is to have a candidate that will have the capacity to do so. And you can't come and put innuendos and rhetoric and say, oh, it must be the North, pursuing generalization statement on general terms without specifically stating what candidate you think should be that. For me, I think that candidate should be Peter Obi. Candidate that have moved that goes around from state to state, that move from Jigawa to from Abuja to Kafasha to Kaduna, even to Olamaboro in Kogi State, and I've been to several technical institutions, nursing school. We can't have people who are not showing compassion, who are not showing that they have the capacity to be able to know the terrain of this country. Because the problem we have put people in government who have not been able to even know what is the route that link between Ogugu to Enugu. What is that road? People don't travel, they travel on shop. But I have seen a candidate. I will not come to do a statement on that I will not mention name of those I think that can win this thing. And if you look at the last election, there was no political entrenchment. There was no political structure. People say, oh, there are 3 people tweeting in one room. There are no governors, there are no senators. But that election, Obi has proven beyond reasonable doubt that he has the public, the people have interest in him, because it's about the messaging, it's about the acceptance, because you can be popular and then you go to the ballot and there's no result. But people accept you, that's why your popularity translates into vote. So you look at the Southern election that was conducted, despite the fact that APC was in control of the structure in the entire south of our country. If PDP was in control of, within the South, PDP was in control of Delta. In that Delta, they had a vice presidential candidate for the PDP, and Atiku won the vote. Peter Obi won the vote there over 80%. You have the Southern election statistics where Peter Obi had 44.5%, Atiku had 19.4%, Tinubu had 35.5%, and Kwakwaso had 0.48%. Where he defeated every candidate that participated in the South. And when you come to the North, he had a substantial share. You have to take away the rigging, because the people say, oh, he didn't win the election. People are claiming he won the election. We need to go to the IRF and see that there are a lot of irregularities, a lot of forged results that were posted there. And if you look at the BBC report, expose done on Rivers State, including Premium Times, you will find out that Peter Obi defeated every other candidate in Rivers State. These are data that are verifiable, that you can reach out to. We can't just sit down and then come to a station and then try to put up candidates that are not going out there to sell themselves, to go around to connect with Nigerians, to show compassion to people who are going through crisis, like what happened in Makwa, and then we go and elect candidate again that will now start to draw Nigeria back.
It's clear that the people in power are jittery and they can be defeated. We are in opposition here because we confidently believe that they can be defeated. That's why we're here. And I'm telling you, the only thing that is wrong with the opposition is not about, we've done a coalition where we put 30 political parties before together in 2019 and we lost. It's not about how many parties you put together, but it's about the kind of candidate you present to the people. It must be appealing enough to them to be willing to go to the ballot box and vote. It must be attractive enough to them to be willing to sustain injury like the lady in Lagos and still go back to polling unit. That is the kind of things that the opposition need, because the opposition does not have any other power. They don't control the state apparatus of authority. They don't control INEC, they don't control police, and they don't control any other thing. What they need is the people. It's the people that determines what happens on election day. And if you tell me that the people are not useless and they are not useful and they are not a determining factor, you ask yourself question, why do they load money in trucks to buy votes? So these are critical things that the people, and the only thing that have made election rigging easier in my 20-something years of practicing multi-party democracy and being in the opposition is the fact that people don't participate. When there's mass participation, We have about something million register on our voters register today. Imagine if 30 million comes out to vote, or 40 million. It will overwhelm the system. The system has no capacity. Today, look at what terrorists are doing. Nigerian security architecture have no capacity to subdue the people in 179,000 polling units. So it is the people that the opposition have. But how can the people be encouraged enough to say they are willing to give their vote? It will be predicated on the kind of candidate that is put forward to the citizens, on what they will make them so encouraged that they needed to save this country from a sliding, from the downward spiral that is going. So it is about the people and the opposition. And you must have in that process a proper, defined strategy to be able to also deploy your resources on the election day, since you are not going to be stealing for public offers. And I tell you that this government, nothing fears them more. What is happening in all the opposition party, you think it's just happening for nothing? I am telling you, this is the first time I'm seeing that the Supreme Court judgment can be overturned by a state high court. INEC come into existence under section 133 of the Constitution. That means INEC is a federal executive body. No state court can issue an order against INEC and it will stand. No. The current INEC chairman appointment comes in line with section 155 of section 1C. So everything is a federal body. But today you have state courts issuing orders to stop the function, to overrule the Federal High Court, to overrule the Supreme Court. So, and you have a commission that is so deep now in their politics that also will not make you breathe well. But if the people wake up, I am telling you that day and night, these people are not sleeping. If it was wicked group that took over the PDP secretariat, it will not be barricaded. It's barricaded today because the people woke up in their own party and say it's time for us to take our party back. So you will always find state actors acting in the interest of those in power because they want to always work for the interest of their salary.
But Chivame, are you worried that Peter Obi might not be able to replicate the numbers that he garnered in the 2023 election if he is on the ballot in 2027?
We are not just running election and just making speculation out of the blues. We also carry out that, we also collect data, do a lot of engagement. I just came back from a journey, I told you. So these are the things we do behind closed door, and we know what is there. And we know that the only person that this government does not want to be on the ballot is Peter Obi. They are doing everything.
So Peter Obi can defeat Bola Tinubu.
Go and count how many times Bayo Onanuga has posted about Peter Obi on his Twitter page.
What does that mean?
He's worried. He's worried about Peter Obi. They are worried. They don't talk anything without talking about Peter Obi.
If Atiku Abubakar, you think Tinubu is not afraid of Atiku Abubakar?
It's not.
He's not afraid of Rotimi Amechi.
It's not.
He's not afraid. He's the only person Tinubu is afraid of is Peter Obi.
He's on record. They know it. There's a high level of fear.
If Peter Obi goes head to head with Bola Tinubu, you think Peter Obi will beat Bola Tinubu?
Because he told his democracy in 1999. The APC did everything to defeat Bola Tinubu in Lagos. They couldn't. They did everything. They brought federal might, they brought resources, they brought connection. They could not. It took the Peter Obi to garner about 1 million votes that was reduced to 500,000 votes. It took a Peter Obi to come to FCT when there was seat of power to defeat the Tinubu.